Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and as you can see we're back on with the Texas Instrument Ti-99 4A. I'm hoping I can pretty much wrap this up in this video. I've not actually done a whole amount with this since I did the previous video. I've been loading a few games up and bits and bats. I've got a rather bad basic written Pac-Man game up at the moment, but it does run. It does, you know, you can play it. It's just incredibly slow. But one of the reasons I've got it up, it shows up one of the issues that this computer has still got quite well, and that's this artifact in here. Now I remember saying in the last video that I did, I thought it had almost completely gone, and I was only seeing one little bit, like kind of like round here, one little bit of what do we call it, artifacting or bad pixelation or something on the screen. But if you look now, it's back, actually worse than it was before. If you can see them all coming up like this. I'm actually wondering whether that VDP is indeed a little bit iffy. So what I thought we'd do in this video, I've got the two other video ICs, so we can pop that out. We'll try the other two in and see if that artifacting goes. I'm also curious just to try the original SRAM that we took out of there back in the board and see if we can actually get the board to go back into a fault, because I've been running this for about 2 weeks off and on. I've not been, like I said, I've not been doing a lot with it because I've done another project. I've been trying to teach myself KiCad. I've not done any CAD stuff for some while, and I've got this notion about some PCBs I want to make, so I've been concentrating on that. But I have been down here every now and again when I've been rummaging around doing other stuff. I've had this thing fired up and, you know, loading various bits of software on it, and to be honest, it loads software fine. I don't think there's anything now majorly wrong with this computer. Like I say, it's just these little glitches there. So I'm curious to see whether the fault indeed was that SRAM, or whether we do still have some issue. I am also going to just do a little bit of reflow work on the back of the CPU there. I want to test them two capacitors. I know I said I was going to change them out, and I have got a couple of replacements, but I think I'll just pull the tester out and we'll just test them in circuit and see actually what condition they are in before we go that far. Anyway, so what we'll do first is we'll get the computer switched off, and we'll put some anti-static precautions on. I've got to move this out of the way so I can actually, or can I get to that? Can I get to where I put those ICs? That's the question. In fact, bear with me a minute, folks, because I've just realised I've left some of the parts that I need. Oh, can I get to them here? No, I can't. But back in a sec when I've found all the bits that I need. Right, we're back, and I've found them. So I've got two TMS 929 ANLs there, so I'll grab the chip puller. Let's pull this one out. So this is the original one that came on this board when we first started, and it's the one with the very blued pins. Let's take one of the other ones that I've got. Let's mark pin 1 there. Make sure that that's going in. There we go, that's in nicely. Just that crud off it. Right, let's see if this is going to make a difference. So let's switch back on. And no, in exactly the same places. Just for fun, we'll try the other one that I've got. The strange thing is, the computer seems to work absolutely fine. Like I say, it seems to have loaded every piece of software I think it's capable of loading that I've thrown at it. There we go. Let's try this one. There we go. We'll switch on again. No, it's exactly the same, so it's definitely not. I don't think it's the VDP that's causing that issue. We may as well go back to the original one that actually came on this board. I think we can very safely rule that out as a problem. No, which one's the original? It was the one with the very, very blued pins, weren't it? It's this one here. So we'll put him back in. I can put these back in my box. There we go. Let's try it one more time. Yeah, we're exactly the same. Right. Then what I wanted to do was this is the RAM IC that we took out. That is the replacement for it there. Just try taking that out. And we'll just put the original back in. I'm just curious to see whether the fault returns. And it is indeed just this this SRAM chip that was causing the problems in the first place. So let's switch back on. Back to a faulty computer. So let's pull that back out. We'll put the replacement back in. Because that is actually good to know that it now works back again. Excellent. So that is actually what the original fault was. It was that SRAM there, which is part of the scratch pad RAM that the CPU addresses directly. So that was indeed the fault. And if you remember when we was first diagnosing it and I was checking, we did have a temperature difference between the two SRAM chips there. It was just very fortunate actually that I had a replacement for it. So yeah, it's just really weird about this artifacting. What I might actually try and do, I wonder if that comes through on composite, or whether it's just something that's being produced by the actually by possibly, I don't know actually, because why would it come and go? Whether it's a consequence of using that monitor, or at least using, you know, the component video into that monitor. At this point, I wonder if we try. I've got the RF box here that we couldn't get working. This is what I modified when I first started working on this computer a number of years ago, and we couldn't get any life out of it. And I was wondering, you know, we just stopped at that point because I had other things I wanted to play with. But just for curiosity's sake, let's get that disconnected there. Let's see if that comes through on, because to be honest, I'll probably use this on composite more than component, because it means I can use it on a much different, greater range of monitors. Okay, that's connected. So let's get some leads so we can connect that up to that monitor, but using composite. So just bear with us a sec, I'll be back as soon as I've set that up. Right, okay, we're back, and I've actually got it connected up to my little JVC CRT monitor here. So let's switch that on. I'll turn the... got something coming through. Why am I not getting a picture though? No, we're not getting a picture. We're getting audio. And the computer is obviously working. But we obviously have something wrong inside here. Because we're not actually getting any video out of it. And this should work fine, this little CRT. That's PAL. The sync should be internal. Colour, it doesn't matter if it's on or off, because we should get an image anyway. We'll even go over to nope. So we do indeed have a fault in that box as well. So perhaps there is going to be another part video to this, because we've obviously got a fault in there. Now, fortunately, I do still have the other monitor connected up. I've just put it up out of shot there, so I can easily pull the cable down. Let's switch that off and push him away. And we'll connect that back up, and I'll just make sure that this computer is still functioning. I know it's out of shot, so you'll just have to take my word for it, but let's get that switch back on. We're not getting any signal there. What fine? Oh, hang on. Helps if I actually push it in properly. Let's try that again. There we go. We're back to a working computer, but still with all this this artifacting on the screen, which is most odd. I'm wondering possibly if we have one of the video RAM chips is faulty. That could be a possibility, but I mean the weird thing is that it's only got 16K of video RAM, which it obviously shares with the processor for running some of the programs, and software is actually loading on this thing. But that's the only place I could possibly think there could be an issue, really, because we've tried a different video IC. We've tried the original one and 2 replacements, and they all show exactly the same symptoms. But the weird thing is, like I said, the computer is basically working. I can switch it on, it boots up, I can load software on it. I can't feel any of these getting any warmer than any others. They're all pretty much the same. Odd. But no, we've still got, as you can see, we've got a nice crisp sharp image. but we do still have all this artifacting all over the screen. It's really, really weird. What I think I'm going to do, I'll turn that off. In fact, let's get some of these things disconnected from it. Like this. Get them out of the way. I do love that keyboard. We'll unplug that. Get back down to the bare board. And I think all I'm going to do for now, I'm going to have a look at those two capacitors there, like I say, and them two bits of wire that got absolutely baked. I might just do a few other spot checks on a few other capacitors and see what they're like. But I'm not planning to completely recap this thing or anything. What I might actually do is just, even with that fault, I might just put it back together for now and run it for a while and see if it's going to get better or worse. I'm hoping just one of these RAM ICs fails, gets nice and red hot, and I can just, you know, do a quick touch test, find out which one's failed. I'm feeling that the fault I've got now with that little graphical glitch is probably part of the video RAM. I'm wondering actually if there's a RAM test program or something I can find for this and run on it. Anyway, what I'll do, I'll get my tester out and we'll just go through a few of these capacitors. So I was thinking about perhaps reflowing the CPU, but to be honest, now we know exactly where the fault was, and it definitely was the SRAM, and it doesn't look bad round there. I think it's a case of letting sleeping dogs lie, as a lot of people have pointed out with these. There's tracers that actually run between pins on the CPU. There's no solder mask on them. Some of those pins, some of those tracers carry 12 volts, and as Adrian Black on Adrian's Digital Basement did and didn't realise, he was soldering a socket there and actually bridged two of those points and put 12 volts through his new CPU. Amazingly it survived, but it's so easy to do something like that. The joints don't look bad. First, because I was probing around, I thought I might have caused something to start working just by doing that, but no, it was all down to that that faulty SRAM chip there. So like I say, I will just get a few test bits out and we'll have a quick check of those capacitors and possibly change some of those, so back in a sec. Right, okay, well I've got my capacitance ESR tester out here. It's only a cheapy one, but it does seem to work quite well. And we'll go across these two capacitors here. Now for a 100 UF capacitor, which that is, at 16 volts, it can have a ESR of up to 0.90, and I've got 0.27. So to be honest, that capacitor's fine. We'll try the next one. Same value, and that's actually got an ESR of 0.16, so that's even, you know, lower. So even though those have obviously been quite warm in that area at some point, there's nothing wrong with them at all. We'll try this one down here. This is another 100. Make sure I get my leads the right way around. And again, 0.23. Anything over 0.90, you know, we're going to really want to replace. That's absolutely fine. I've got one here. Let's try this. This is a 22 at 25 volts. So we have a look on the chart here, 22. So basically anything up to 2 ohms is going to be okay for this. So let's have a look on this one. and it's 0.86. So again, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. We've got another one, same value here. .82. Like I said, it's upper rating is 2 ohms, so it's well below. Let's see what value these ones are. And then again, I've just noticed the Nichicon capacitors as well. They're generally very, very good quality capacitors. Let's try this one here. This again is the same value, 22 UF at 25 volts. And that one is again incredibly low, 0.22. Let's have a look what these ones are. We've got a 10 UF at 16 volts there, and we've got another 22 there. We've got another 22 there. So let's just quickly go through these while we're here. Swap that round. That's 0.50. So again, that's well below, well in spec. Let's try this one. 0.39, and then we've got a 10 there. Let's just see what the 10 is. If we have a look along here, 10 at 10. It should be below 1.5 ohms. So let's have a look at this one. And it's right on. It's 1.55. So of all the capacitors in here, it's probably the worst of them, and it's just out of spec. I'm gonna try it again. Sometimes I'll even let's give it one last quick try. I think it is just out of spec, that. Yeah, 1.53, and they give spec as 1.50. So it's pretty much there. Have I got any lying around here? Just see if I've got one. What we want is a 10, don't we? .22s. Hundreds. What a 10. What are those? They're ones, hundreds, 4.7s. But I mean, I haven't got any bloody 10s in here, have I? And 22s. Yeah, I haven't got any 10s, unfortunately. Thought I should have. I know I'll have 10 in. I will have 10 in. Radial rather than axial. Let me just have a quick look. 10. There we go. Oh, actually, I've got some axial 10s here. Let's try one of them. Now we've got a brand new axial 10 there. This is a can't actually make the name out, but these won't be as good, I don't think. Like I said, those are all Nichicon. Right, so plus to that side, negative to that side. Let's see what this is like. Okay, fair enough. That's 0.90. So that it right. We'll swap that one out for the simple fact that yeah. That is in, you know, more in spec than the one that's actually on the board. It's not strictly necessary. All the other ones are well in spec. It was just that one. Like I said, it's, you could say it's just getting out of spec now. So got a point there and a point there. Let's just make sure we know which way around it goes. And it is negative to this side. Interesting, it actually does have something to do with the video circuitry as well, so we certainly definitely will change it. Right, so positive is on that side, negative on that side. Right, so let's get this thing out of the board. Add a little bit of fresh solder. There we go. So, lift that side up, pop him out. I'm just going to clean those holes up. That's that one done. Just flip that over. Nearly. The other hole cleared out nice and easy. This one's just being a little there we go, got it. There we go. Okie dokie, let's put the new capacitor in. And we said negative that way, didn't we? I always like to install them with a can so you can actually see the value and the polarity arrow if it's got one, if it's one of these axial ones. There we go. I'm not expecting this to fix the video problem, but it certainly was in the video circuit, and it was the only capacitor we found that was really out of spec. I wouldn't really call it mega out of spec either. It was just, you know, considering all the other ones were well in spec, it was the only one that was just, you know, it was marginally on spec. So we might as well swap it out. Right, okay, that's done. Let's find some snips so I can snip that those legs off. There it is. There, my nice die cutters. That's one off. Two off. And to be honest, for the moment, I think that's where I'm going to leave it with this. What I'll do now, I'm going to put it all back together, and we can have a final test about and play about with it. But I'm just going to use it for a while, and hopefully that video issue will manifest itself in possibly one of these RAM chips failing, or if I can find a RAM test program to run on this, it might actually help me identify which one of these is faulty. What I don't really want to do, and it is the way we could sort it, to be honest. Like I say, I'm pretty certain the video issues that we're getting is something to do with one of the RAM, probably not exactly being faulty, but being marginal. Otherwise, it wouldn't be loading the software and everything working as well as it actually is. Like I said, one way of possibly finding that would be with like a RAM test program or something. The other one is just to keep running the computer, and eventually, if I keep running it, the fault with that IC will get worse, and we should be able to identify which one it is. Like I said, what I don't really want to do, which like I said, what I could do is take the desoldering station, pull all those DRAM off the board, put sockets in, and then put a pile of known good working tested DRAM in there and see if that cures the fault. The thing with doing it like that is, every time you work on one of these boards, you do, you know, have the risk of, you know, lifting a trace or doing some damage. I try to avoid that as much as possible. I have damaged boards in the past being too hasty, you're just pulling chips willy-nilly trying to find faults. I'm wondering whether that's possibly going to be the best way to go with this. Like I said, the first thing I'll do is try and see if I can find some actual RAM test software for it. And if I can't find anything, I think I'm just going to keep playing with the computer, trying the computer, and like I said, hopefully eventually one of these will just give out. Or I could just run it and leave it switched on for 24 hours and see if that that makes it fail. Anyway, like I said, I'll pause the video now. I'm going to put this thing back together and we'll come back with some conclusions. So back in a sec. Right, as you can see, we're all back together, and if I switch on, we're working. So obviously we still have the artifacting, but I'm not too worried about that for now. What I will say is that was a mare of a job. I'm really glad I didn't film it. Taking this apart was fairly easy. Putting that thing back together and getting that switch down there all back in and working, and the power cable routed properly from the connector at the back into where the power supply is and all that, that was hard. Anyway, like I said, it's all back together now. Let's press 1 for basic. Where was it now? Was it function for that? Yep. There we go. So as we can see, like I said, the computer is working. I have to say though, I think that the text is really nice and crisp on these Ti-99s. It is a really nice crisp text. I'll break that. Quit. Control quit. Function quit. Yeah. Ah, is that how you reset it? We've learned something new already. Anyway, yeah, so I'm going to leave it there for now for this computer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do some research and see if I can find some kind of RAM test program. Because I'm convinced that these glitches are to do with proper, like I said, a marginal DRAM chip in the video RAM. It's all I can really think of, seeing we've tried 3 different VDPs in it and it doesn't make any difference at all. And there's not that much more really in the video side of it. It could possibly be really. Especially not considering the rest of the computer just works. I can load software on it. Well, at least like I said, basic software up to 16K basic software runs on it fine. It's just this bit of glitching. So I'm going to see if I can find some kind of RAM test program for it. If not, I'm just going to keep running it and running it until it basically dies of whatever, you know, one of them DRAM chips is marginal and it will fail, and then we can find which one it is and just change it. Apart from that, we're going to have a look at that video modulator which I modified in the first place, because we're getting audio through it, but we are not getting any video output from it, so we'll have a look at that in a future video. And also I'm going to make something so it's a little bit easier to load software onto this thing. So I'm currently using an old Yamaha sound desk as a boost device to get a little bit more audio into it. What someone did suggest, and actually it's a really good idea, just use your tape recorder. So basically what you could do is take your output from your laptop's headphone supply, put it into the microphone input on your tape recorder. You don't even need a tape in there, just press play and record, or if you have a tape in there, press pause, play and record, so the basically it's using the tape recorder as a preamplifier, and then you could use your headphone out there to feed into the Ti-99, and it'll just boost the audio like I'm doing with the Sound Desk now. That would basically do the same thing, which again is a really good idea, and I might actually give that a quick try. But I'm thinking about just making a little preamp up or something. I'll probably do a completely separate video on that anyway. Like I said, I'm going to leave it there for now. I hope you enjoyed this little series of videos on this Ti-99 4A. So it was dead. We have brought it back from the dead. It's just not 100% healthy yet. But hopefully, like I said, we will revisit this computer. See if we can address these few issues it's got. But so I've got some other projects. Some I'm going to do videos on, some probably not going to do videos on, to be honest. I have got some projects I'm working on at the moment, but I've got something I want to get on the bench. So I can clear this lot off now. I can put this away safely for the moment, clear myself some space, and I'll dig out the rather interesting piece of test equipment that I've got that I want to have a look at. So I'm going to leave it there for now. Hope you enjoyed this little video, so I'll say thanks for watching and goodbye.